A new mass opinion survey says at least 77% of Zimbabweans want to see change. The findings from the Public Policy and Research Institute of Zimbabwe are contained in a July survey made public 2 weeks before the general elections, which are slated for 23 August. A total of 82% of respondents were registered voters. And according to the survey, the majority of registered voters, that is 67%, say they are most likely to vote in the forthcoming election, while 9% say they will definitely not vote. The 9% reflects those registered voters who are saying we won't vote, come what may. This means it's some level of voter apathy. And about 65% of Zimbabwe's electorate resides in rural areas, and according to the survey, that's where the biggest vote will come from. To some, this may seem as an advantage to the ZANU-PF, which has got a track record of winning in rural areas, and of those that are most likely to vote, more are from rural areas, 53% compared to 47% from urban areas. During the July 2018 polls, ZANU-PF enjoyed widespread support in rural areas. But since the beginning of campaigns this year, Citizens Coalition for Change leader Nelson Chamisa has dug deep into ZANU-PF's strongholds, in some cases facing resistance. In July, the CCC spokesperson Fadzai Mahere said rallies were going to be predominantly in rural areas, and we have seen this feat over the past couple of weeks with Nelson Chamisa and his CCC doing most of their rallies in rural areas. However, there were challenges in farming communities where ZANU-PF has traditionally enjoyed landslide votes. In Nyamanglovu, about 40 kilometers northwest of Bulawayo, News 24 spoke to Julius Ncube, who is 58 and who is also a resettled farmer. And Ncube is a farmer and a former soldier. Although he didn't participate in the War of Independence, he is open about his choices, and he said, "I will vote for ZANU-PF as I have always done. We have land because of ZANU-PF, and without land, we are nothing. Now, if you tell me to vote for Western puppets, it's like surrendering my life," he said. The narrative shared in rural and farming areas is that the CCC will retain the land to the wise. Another strongly held view is that the party called for sanctions, which is why the country is suffering. And President Emmerson Mnangagwa repeats this assertion of sanctions in his star rallies. Lately, he said that, "Didn't they call for sanctions? We can't let our guard down. They even know coming here to campaign is dangerous." Ncube has been bussed to ZANU-PF rallies in other parts of Matabeleland, and he enjoyed the experience. In farming communities and most rural areas, the only media residents have access is to state-controlled newspapers such as Chronicle and state-run radio stations. Some tune into shortwave radio to listen to the likes of Voice of America, which give a different view. However, it's somewhat taboo to be known to listen to pirate radio stations, which are deemed anti-government. In Bulawayo, there is Cavalry Park, a new constituency where Finance Minister Professor Ncube is doing the bidding for ZANU-PF. This constituency is the biggest in Matabeleland with over 70,000 residents, and half of them are registered voters. A lot of vote buying has allegedly been going on there through road construction, nurse aid courses for the unemployed, and other social products. The constituents will put to test the traditional urban stronghold take the opposition has enjoyed in the city. Bribe Manasseh, a vendor in Cavalry Park, said he welcomed the good work being done by Ncube, but that will be a challenge come voting day. Someone can vote for Ncube for parliament, but not for President Mnangagwa for president. Or like always, just don't vote for ZANU-PF at all. But for our area, Professor Ncube has been good, and this presents a challenge for the opposition. His view is similar to the previous survey, which highlighted that people said bribes were welcome, but might not change their voting perceptions. 44% say they will refuse to take bribes and they will vote with their conscience. 40% will take the bribes and vote their conscience, while 11% will take the bribe and vote for the bribe. 5% are undecided whether or not to take the bribe. Sheila Moyo is in her final year of studies towards a diploma in hotel and catering, and she's a first-time voter and hopes to see change, but she does not entirely trust politicians. All I see are old people who don't really care about us. all they want is to cling to money and power. On the other side, I see people who are hungry to enjoy what those in power have, and to be frank, their message is also weak. But in the end, change is good, because if we can change the current leaders, we can easily change those that come in now if they are not good for us. We have seen governments change in Malawi and Zambia. We also want that experience. Numerous other opinion polls predict a close call between Mnangagwa and Chamisa, with some raising fears of political violence after the results are announced.